is No Filter.
It is indeed. It's No Filter time. And you know, we love to do No Filter on this show because we don't want to censor people. We don't want to always talk about music. We want to get to the heart of the matter. We want to know that your favorite musicians and artists are three-dimensional, possibly even four-dimensional human beings with a life outside of music. Because let's face it, you can be an artist and you can love your art, but it's all the other stuff around it that really informs who you are as an artist. And tonight, my friends, I'm really happy to say we have the OG, the original Desi rapper. Years before all these people started rapping in Desi languages, he was out there like a single, lone, solitary figure, literally kickstarting a movement. That man's name is Bohemia, and he joins me live on the line from North America. Bohemia, bro, I just want to say we're not worthy.
Bobby, thank you for having me.
Well, look, it was only a matter of time before you came on the show to do a No Filter, and I just think in 2019, with everything that's happening with Desi hip hop, it's about time we reminded everybody what you, and I think everyone agrees with this now, what you single-handedly started. Are you accepting of that legendary status?
Well, we can talk about what I single-handedly started, but it took like 3-4 guys to set up this Skype line, by the way. And I still can't see you. Is that how it's supposed to work? Because I was hoping to see you. It's been a while I've seen you, man.
Oh, yeah. No. You can't see me. I'm really sorry, bro. You're only going to hear my voice. At the end of the day, we just had to strip everything down and just go with bare bones. So I'll just be the voice in your head.
In my head. Okay. All right. Let me adapt to that format for the rest of the interview now. I was really hoping to see you.
Okay.
But again, man, thank you for having me back. It's been a while. Good to hear your voice again. One of my fondest earlier memories of connecting with my listeners, besides the music and, you know, speaking with them and being on radio, and was with you and on your show. So it's an honor being back, man.
Well, let's get right down into the nitty-gritty, my friend, because so many people know about your career. They know about everything you've done from 2002 onwards, but many people don't actually know about your background. They don't know about where you grew up. I've got people in Pakistan saying, yo, this guy is Pakistani. I've got people in India going, yo, this guy's Indian. I've got people in the UK swearing to God that one of your aunties lives in Birmingham. So just tell us a bit about your background.
That is true. Shout out to my auntie in Birmingham. Sorry I didn't see you last time I was there. I'll be there this time, the next time I'm there. Other than that, love and respect to all my aunties and uncles and my family all over the world, in India and Pakistan and the UK and the US, all over the world, man. Right now, it's life is a blessing in that sense. It's definitely a very humbling feeling to have that kind of welcoming, feeling from people around the world. And music is a crazy thing in that matter, man. It really is. I don't know if any other career does that. I mean, a lot of careers do that, but this it's a special added value that you get. And I don't know about others, but I'm super humbled, man. And it's true. I have family everywhere. I think I'm an epitome of when you talk about an artist having no borders or having no limitations, or just really belonging to the world. And I think my art is an epitome of that.
Bro, I just want to back that up. I think out of all the artists who I've championed and played and just watched over the years, I think it's entirely true. There are no borders. You are borderless, and you are definitely someone carrying that word. I mean, it's been co-opted a bit, but that word, you're Desi, you're brown, but you don't really kind of align yourself to any kind of religion or nation state or movement or peoples apart from the brown peoples.
Not even just that, but I mean, it's now I'm going to where, you know, living out here in the U.S., I'm representing, I guess, a brown person or a Southeast Asian person. So yeah, that will always be there. But at the end of the day, it's kind of earlier when, you know, me and my partner Jay Hind this morning, we were discussing things and it was so funny that every time Obama, for example, when he's talked about as the black president, you know, and the black president, and, you know, the black president, and it's, Jay brought up an amazing point that, you know, we rarely talk about him as a president. I mean, at the end of the day, the dude was a president. I mean, it definitely was an unprecedented situation that we had a person in the office that, you know, one of their parents were not white. Hadn't happened before. But at the end of the day, the guy is doing his job. He's a president, and you just cannot go past that. Every time he's talked about, he's just talked about in that light, you know, or the majority of the time is. So that being said, yeah, I'm a Desi guy, yeah, you know. But at the end of the day, man, with what hip hop represents and what it arms us with is an energy to culturally align ourselves with the times. You know, align ourselves fashion-wise, just align ourselves, and in a manner where we create harmony instead of conflict. So that's, if you could get that positive energy from hip-hop, that's what it's giving you. And then once it's giving you that energy, it's not deciding who you are, where you came from. It's giving it to you with you know, unconditionally, and all kinds of people from different races and you know, backgrounds in America have benefited from them, and I'm just one of them. And in that sense, yeah.
So let me ask you this then, because you just mentioned about how hip hop spreads, you know, unity in a way, and it kind of tries to erase conflict sometimes, and I see that especially in South Asian hip hop, all right? But at the same time, all my favorite rappers came from childhoods or came from areas where conflict got them into hip hop in the first place, and then they want to heal the world. So let me just ask you about, before you became a rapper, was there much conflict in your life?
Yes. I mean, wow, that's a very well observation. And yeah, I would say the same. I think for me, a lot had to do with the energy of just wanting to be better than my situation had made me seem like. It was having more self-respect for myself that was instilled in me. I would say very initially by my father, then my mother, and then a lot of people. But predominantly from my father. I remember my earliest memories is me telling my dad that, hey, Dad, I did this or I achieved that, and he would say, yeah, I know you're different. It was nothing like even years later when I said, hey, Dad, so I'm doing this, I'm going to India. And he said, yeah, I know you were different. So my dad was the least impressed. He just knew I was special. So that kind of positive, I think, energy was given to me by my family, and it just made me want to do better, man. It just made me want to be better. And yeah, so there was not a negativity around initially. And so I don't want to glorify it in a sense that, or have any kind of super nostalgic value to it, like, oh my God, this happened to me, that. I mean, I think everything that happened to me happens to everybody. I mean, we go through childhood struggle or the adolescent struggles and all of that, man. And then me coming from different culture and, not even being able to speak English and, teaching myself what all of that was about and how to live in the Western world. But it was, I would say it was challenging, but it was, I don't have any kind of um, I don't relate it being necessarily the only thing. I mean, a lot of things hindered my progress. I guess I would have been further ahead if I had stayed in school. I would say, tell you that much. Dropping out of high school was not my best. My family had no money. I had nowhere to sleep in the house, so I left home and became a homeless guy and started living with my friends in their houses. So school was just not an option. But no way ever do I think, if I been in school, then a college, do you think I would have been, if I'm a businessman now, man, if I had given the opportunity to progress my education, I would have been much bigger businessman. So no, I don't necessarily want to
glorify.
Sure. Yeah, or give credit. I don't know if that's the way to put it, but then again, I cannot take the credit away either, right?
I just quickly want to rewind you because I just find this really interesting you kind of labeled yourself as homeless and it's very interesting because that's, in the past people thought homeless people just lived on the streets, and actually there's a lot of people across the world who are homeless in the sense that they're relying on the courtesy and the kindness of friends or and people who aren't that close to. So that period in your life when you had no place to live and you were relying on your friends, what was going through your mind at the time? Did you feel broken, or was it just like, yo, this is where I am and fine?
It was. The friends that I were put in my life. I just, I guess I know in retrospect, I was lucky to have these people around. We're musicians, man. Like, I mean, now that I look back, I would have left home, again, if I, now that I think about it, where I was headed. I was, here I am in America, not really having that big of a, future that I can see with the whole education aspect. I have no money. I don't really that much like the school systems, to believe me, like the way they were. And all of a sudden, this keyboard, that I started playing and I had with me, and gets me to these gigs, these home parties in which my cousins say, hey, play that keyboard. And shout out to my cousins that pushed me, or that they just were home singers, but they forced me to pull that keyboard out again and again. And then the keyboard led me to local musicians. There was a local musician, a Fijian American guy named Michael Anand, who initially pulled me out of my high school days and said, hey man, come to the band practice, bring your keyboard. Now Mike took me to band practice, took me to other ghazal singers, one of them being Harjeet Singh, the later Mehndi and Mika Paji's brother. Lived in the Bay Area. Harjeet Paji said, hey, you wanna live? You can sleep in my living room or, and just do shows with me. Next thing you know, I meet another guy, Sunil Khanna, another amazing Sunil, a ghazal singer, takes me on another journey where I'm doing ghazal shows with him. I play keyboards with Anup Jalota. I play keyboards with Jazzy B. I play keyboards, and I'm just loving this life, even though supposedly I'm a homeless kid. I mean, that is there. But look where I'm at, though. I'm rubbing shoulders with all these musicians that are at least 10 to 15 years older than me, all of them. And I'm just around these tabla players and musicians that are all discussing rhythms and tore and tal, and I'm just like, wow, just soaking that in. And on the other hand, just out of what, age I'm in and wanting to learn the culture, and with the guys my age that I hung out with, I'm also listening to rap music. And that's, growing in. I'm starting to listen to Spice Ones and Ice Cubes, and I'm like, wow, these guys are really, Nas, Tupac. I'm like, wow, man, okay. So all of that is just happening, and sure, I mean, it was. Now that I look back, but then it was just a blessing in disguise because it was just a boot camp that I went through as a keyboard player for years and years and years before I ever became a rapper. I don't know when I became.
But
How
brother,
that happened.
brother, that boot camp. I mean, let's just break this down. You know, you got the Mikka and the Delays and their family, Anoop Jalota. I mean, this is
Yes.
madness. I just have this image of you, just like, it just makes sense now when I think about the musicality of your rap music. No wonder you're so grounded in melody and music, because that's the best boot camp anyone can have.
Anyone? Oh my God, man. I'm around guys, tabla players that are literally training from Zakir Hussainji, man. I'm with Zakir Hussainji's nephew, and I'm living with them. These guys are letting me sleep in their living rooms while these guys are practicing all night. I mean, I'm at the Nargis Dutt Foundation playing keyboards with the santoor players and sitar players. So these were my teenage. These were my teenage years, oblivious to the fact that I'm gonna rap, oblivious to the fact that I'm gonna be a center stage artist. There's no way in my mind as a back keyboard player am I thinking, okay, that's the future. No, I am loving this, how a band works. You know, how to play, you know, instrument while when you're doing a ghazal show, or how you play instrument while you're doing a religious event, or you know, you're changing ragnis, and you're learning rhythms through tabla, and which is what. So later, when you listen to my rap, let's just say Ek Tera Pyar, for example, I say Ban Meri Meet Kar Amar Preet. You know, now you go back to a Jagjit Singh ghazal, होंठों से छू लो तुम मेरा गीत अमर कर लो, बन जाओ मीत मेरे ये गीत अमर कर दो. So बन जाओ मीत मेरे ये गीत अमर कर दो. Same thing I'm saying in Ek Tera Pyar, ban meri meet kar amar apreet. So the lyrics in Ek Tera Pyar are actually ghazal lyrics. They are driven from a Jagjit Singh ghazal, almost word for word. One is in Urdu Hindi, and one is mine is in Punjabi.
Bro,
So it's right there.
you've blown my mind today. I mean, I just never thought we'd be sitting down talking about ghazals from Jagjit Singh, Anoop Jalota, and just the interplay between classical and then populist and then hip hop as well. I mean, I just love the fact that you were chilling out with members of Zakir Hussein's family. I mean, that's like classical music royalty. Their name will quite literally resonate for millennia. So this has blown my mind. I need to play a bit of Bohemia and Sidhu Moosewala just to bring me back down to terra firma, and I'll be back with you straight after this, yeah? Okay? No Filter with Bohemia, the original and still the best, according to many people out there. He's live on the line with me now from California. I just want to big up some of the Uber fans who are getting in touch. I am for you Twitter handle. Someone listening in from India, Mumbai to be exact. And we'll jump on to what's happening in India and Pakistan in terms of rap music very soon. I also want to big up Neelam and Harpreet who have emailed in. Some Californian vibes going on and a lot of questions. But I need to ask you, before we do any of that, Bohemia, there are people that I speak to with the job that I do who call you the inventor of Desi rap, and they think that's just what you do. That's what you've always done. You've just always rapped. But you are so much more than that. And now that you've explained about your boot camp, your musical boot camp, it makes sense because you've been producing, you've been launching. You know, there are people like Jasmine Sanders and Guru Randhawa who, you know, I think you believe they should be paying a debt of gratitude towards you. So just tell us about the non-rapping side of what you've done for Desi music.
So the non-rapping side, I think you... initially, I remember me and my partner Jay Hind when we landed in Mumbai. This is, I want to say 2005. And this is a time where, sure, you know, you got pockets of people who appreciate rap as music. But we're flying in from California, home of entrepreneurs. We got our backpacks full of biographies and unauthorized biographies and books about the labels. And we look up to Russell Simmons and we look up to Jimmy Iovine, and we want to be like Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. And all of a sudden we land in Mumbai and it's like another world, like no similarity to any kind of infrastructure. And I'm talking about infrastructure as in general. But more specifically, if you're gonna get into music side of it, you know, you got labels, you got artists, you got promoters, you got all kinds of things going on. And, you know, we don't see the similar ladder that so many artists climb in America. Even if you talk about gangster rappers like, or drug dealer turn into rappers like Jay-Z, they, you know, it as much as what Jay-Z did, I mean, there's a ladder that he's climbing. There's a road he's walking on too. I mean, there's a a reception he has that makes him excel. You know, it's a domino effect back and forth. When we are in India, we don't see none of that. For us to see a rapper on TV, a rapper perform and be respected and do a show and sell its ticket was a dream. That was like, wow. And not even a dream, but such a far-fetched dream. To a point where that, you know, it's someone right now like Elon Musk dreaming that, hey, I see flying cars over me, flying Teslas without drivers. It's a beautiful dream, but for a majority, or you even go back to that era when Steve Jobs was around, rest in peace. He said, hey, I just want no buttons on my phone. I mean, right? So the imagination, but then he had to be in a place like California, I believe, where the resources and just the right path to his success was given to him, you know, just the right yield for him to have. Now, us over there talk about yield. We're talking about nobody yielding out of our way, even when we're driving on a street.
Which, in a way, if you think about it, is a metaphor for the entire country.
Yeah, so here we are. I mean, half the time these guys are getting me out of arguments at an airport. I would just stop everything and I'd be like, guys, let's have a queue. You know how much faster we would move if you were behind me and I would do this. Let's just do this. Or, I mean, I would go to the labels and offices and I'd be like, hey guys, let's just not come to the office this morning. Let's just go to the parking lot and clean it. We just do it once, and I don't know. I mean, there were so many things that I saw as almost like, wow, man, this is never gonna happen. To this day, when you tell me rappers are selling shows and are on TV and taking care of their families and putting smiles on their parents' faces and are stars and everyone's like, yeah, rapper this, rapper that. Oh, he's a rapper. And wow, it's that, it's like literally, it's like Elon Musk seeing cars underground traveling. It's like his dream coming true. It's just like when Steve Jobs must have seen the iPhone and people using it. That's exactly how I feel, man.
You know what's really interesting about what you've just said? And I'm not, some psychologist who's going to break you down now, but it's interesting that you compare the way you look at these rappers, and let's face it, there is a rapper in every village in India now. You did kickstart a revolution, but it's interesting that you see a similar story with Steve Jobs and Elon Musk. And for that, I just want to say, you know your own worth and your own power because you are comparing yourself to the greats.
Oh, man, hard to compare, but if you want to look up, why settle? Like, why not look up to the best of the best, man? I mean, yeah. And then the list goes on. There's so many more heroes like that you can look up to. Are doing it, man, and it's just it's great, man.
So let me ask you then, because I spend time in India, I spend time on the radio, just really heavily promoting not just Desi Beats, but now specifically Indian and Pakistani rap music. Yeah, it's the most exciting music being made in the world today, and within the space of 5 to 10 years, there's so many rappers. Honestly, from your kingdom upon high, as this brown Elon Musk rapper, all right, what do you think about all these new rappers coming through? What do you think about Gully Boy, the movie? What do you think about these kids in the villages who literally want to be Badshah as opposed to Nas? What are your current thoughts on the current healthiness of the rap scene?
I mean, like exactly what I said, man. It's just as when Steve Jobs must have, seen the iPhone, or when Elon Musk sees, self-automated Tesla go down the street. It's just really seeing something as a vision and seeing that come true. But I must say, it took a lot. I remember those days, going back to, like I said, back in 2002. That's when my first album came out. 2004 and 5, when Jai-Hind and I are sitting in the VP office, the Vice President of Universal Music India. We're sitting in her office, and I remember Jai-Hind literally throwing files at them and saying, "You guys don't understand this man and the vision," and then us walking out and escalating our meeting to the MD of Universal Music Group that, you guys are, we have a vision. There's a method to this madness, and just demanding that, and coming back down in the lobby and me telling Jay, like, man, it's not going to work. These guys will never understand, man, the dream. And looking, and then just, and now where it's at. So,
well, it's interesting you say that, because it's Universal in India who have partnered up with Nas to sign Divine. Does that make you feel like you weren't respected in those early days, or people just didn't get the vision?
No, quite the opposite. I mean, why? That is the vision realizing. I mean, and again, things take time, and my industry had to be set up in a way where, you see, I'll take you back to a little secret, another one, initially that we started talking. When I came on the scene and I knew, when the keyboard thing happened and some of my close tabla player friends got murdered and some of the musicians got locked up and all kinds of terrible things happened, and I transitioned from a keyboard player to a rapper out of nowhere. And then you guys picked it up, and BBC made it a big thing, and it got to India. And shout out to BBC, and I will always be humbled, and I always would have that deep down respect for you guys for breaking me on that pedestal. It was a semi shortcut for me to have a majority hear my vision. It really definitely escalated my process. Now, eventually, there was an existential issue that I saw, okay? And the issue I saw was with some other pioneers that had come before me, and predominantly Apache Indian, for example. Couple other guys who had started, even shout out Taz Stereo Nation. I mean, these guys were pioneering, I feel like, genres. They were digging trenches for other rappers to come and walk and be, and take and benefit out of what they've done. But there was a lack of the artist making their sound into a genre which would have sustained them much longer, I believe, and would have. So I saw that if there was another Apache Indian who said, "Hey, I'm better than Apache Indian," there's no way in hell. No way in people would believe that he's better than Apache Indian. In our hearts, we know he is the guy, the Raga Muffin style. No one pioneered before him. No one did that after him. He was a one-off guy to me that did that so awesome to this day. And there's not a set. But then in itself, it's sort of, I feel like, detrimental, because had there been more wannabe Apache Indians, and I'm wannabe Apache Indian better than him, but I'm wannabe Apache Indian, I can do Bollywood Apache Indian. Hey, I'm also Apache Indian, but I'm the Badshah Apache Indian. I'm the Gully Gang of Apache Indian. Now, what would have that done for Apache Indian? That would have, today he would have been super busy, not, he would have been running companies and doing so much and aligning himself with companies like Yash Raj and literally working with everyone that they want to work with, and really none of that happened. I think so.
I get what you're saying. Essentially, it's like, to build a movement, you need competition, and with competition, it gets sticky, it gets fraught with tension. But at least we're building a movement.
Sometimes when you're so good that you already know. I started with Urdu Shairi as a kid. I have books written in ghazals that I've written. I have more ghazals that I've written than I've actually written raps.
Wow.
So to me, writing rap is a very, most of my songs take me maybe an hour or two to write. I have to really not put too much thought to give you a better rap. I mean, if I'm gonna get really articulation heavy, then you guys won't like my raps. So I really water down this stuff to make it sell, actually. So it's a funny. It's like I have more, but so that I knew there was gonna be no competition. There's no one who can do that. But sometimes what I'm trying to hint at is sometimes you have to create competition. You have to make people feel like, oh, I can do this. You have almost, it's a technique. When a boxer goes into a ring, he makes you feel like, oh, this is how you're gonna beat him. But that's what you're fooling for it. You were not supposed to fall for it. Now that you've fallen for it, you're only solidifying my retirement. Wow. Furthermore, and no wonder I just signed a very big contract with Yash Raj, which to me is like now I thought I should be retiring at. I mean, I started in 2002 too.
Yeah.
Instead of in contracts, I should not. I mean, it's definitely a blessing, but coming back to the idea of having other artists, now you get. I'm just trying to show you my side how sometimes you have to create things just for the sustainability of things.
Dude, it's genius level thinking. I gotta say, I never thought when what you thought about all these other rappers, you would come in with this story, and I totally believe you on this. You can only move it so far, but actually, it's to your betterment in the end. If you create competition, it's only gonna rub off on you and make you look good, and at the same time, the entire planet gets a whole new scene and a whole new genre of music. This is great, man.
Hey, that too.
All right, look, we're going to have to wrap this up now, and that's just the way things are. I just love the fact we've learned so much about your Sher or Shairi, and the fact you got more Sher or Shairis possibly than raps written in books. I love the fact you told us about that brilliant musical boot camp, which I think is probably one of the main reasons of your success beyond rapping. And last but not least, thank you so much for just telling us about how you feel sitting on top of a mountain on this throne. I just need to ask one last question for you, bro, okay? And it's just, this is a personal thing for me, just because I've been in the game as long as you, and I've seen people come and go. I've seen people who I thought were going to be big, be even bigger than they are, and I've seen people who I thought were going to be, the Beatles or the Beethovens of the Desi music scene just go ahead and disappear. So just tell me, man, what happened between you and Jasmine? Because when you two were together, I thought you were going to take over the world. And now you're both taking over the world, but separately. What happened musically for that collabo to not happen anymore?
So she was introduced to me from mutual friends in the Bay Area. And back then I was I was in the middle of signing I had left Universal and I was moving on to Sony Music. Shout out to Sony Music. Shout out to Pavnish Pujru. Pavnish and Pavnish had actually been at Universal prior to that for the duration of my contract with Universal when we did Pesana Shapya, Khalid Nali, and all that good stuff. We moved on to Sony Music. That's when Pavnish and that's when the Sony Music North was born, basically with the album Thousand Thoughts. And Pavnish had his office set up in Delhi. And I requested my deal to be more of a content provider deal, in which I wanted to exercise producing other artists and doing the same thing that I did for myself with other artists. And along the line, that's when she was introduced to me through mutual friends. And my earliest memories of her are the hunger and the love for wanting to be an artist that she had. Is the same thing I see to this day. Like, this girl hasn't changed at all. I think she's, I remember the day when she used to just, drive up to the studio and just she was dying to be heard. And we really thought that her sound was even amazing. I mean, as just a kid with no teaching or none of that. At the same time, I think she was writing her own lyrics. Partially, that was one thing that I also liked about her as a very raw artist. At that time, I had a team that I was moving on from, that she had some kind of contractual relationship with. And I know that the contract was hindering her. One, the contract was hindering her from moving on. They were literally just sort of like some kids that didn't really know much about business. It was more about just heavy-handing, hey, you're under contract, you can't do this. To which I said, hey, you know what? I have already fought a case. I had gotten sued for like jurisdicted amount in a court and settled that case without a lawyer. So I can help you again, you know. And I got her out of that case. And at that time is when, along that same time, me and Pavnish and I requested Pavnish, hey, give me a content provider deal and I'm going to bring you a new artist. And this girl is going to change the scene. This girl is going to be very similar to Bohemia, but a girl. And that's when we came up with this idea, the Gulabi, and I designed that CD cover myself in the Photoshop. I shaped the whole album. I produced the whole album. Some of the songs actually she wrote herself. And then one of the songs I rapped on. I've kept my presence minimal because I wanted the collaboration. Yeah, that was my first attempt as a producer to put something out. I'll be honest, Pavnish and Sony were had to sign anyone at that time, especially someone with no, you know, and they, on the record, he said, hey, only reason I'm doing this is because of your work, man. We believe in you. And wow. I think they did a good thing. Sony did a good thing at that time, launching that album. But for me, it was me exercising a launch. And then, you know, she moved on to do good things, great things, and people made up stories in their heads. And, you know, it's kind of like people made stories between me and Honey Singh, like, whereas we love each other, man.
Oh, okay. So you two basically worked together, and as is often the case in the music industry, you carried on plowing your own furrows.
It was an artist that I launched. I discovered an artist that I, as a content provider deal under Sony, and wanted to produce. I wanted to, remember, my dream was to be like Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis.
Yeah.
So that was me seeing, hey, can I find someone raw that no one has heard? Can I put them out and see what they do? And I think it did well. And I'm really proud of it.
Oh, well, of course. I mean, you know, we see her today. We see you today, totally in different musical situations, but definitely running things. Bohemia, bro, it's always different when we talk. Today's talk went all over the place, but it's just always an honor and such a pleasure to catch up with you, man.
Likewise, man. Thank you again, and thank you, BBC, and man, keep doing what you do.
Hey, man, I got to play Vich Brede Sane just for the old times, bro.
Shout out, man. Thank you.
Peace, brother.
ਸਾਡੀ ਕਾਤਲ ਨਾਲ ਬਿਆਰੀ ਹੈ ਇੱਥੇ ਵੱਖਰੀ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਜਾਰੀ ਹੈ ਸੱਚੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਧੋਖੇ ਜਾਰੀ ਹੈ ਇੱਥੇ ਝੂਠੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਦਿਲ ਜਾਗੀ ਮੈਂ ਤੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੀਣਾ ਮਰਨਾ ਵੀ ਮੈਂ ਤੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੱਸਣਾ ਰੋਣਾ ਦਿਲ ਮੇਰਾ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਕੋਈ ਖਡੋਣਾ ਇੱਥੇ ਸਦੀਆਂ ਦਾ ਐ ਰੋਣਾ Sunday. रहेगी 2 दिन आधी जिंदगी एक रब है ओदी बंदगी छट सत समंदर साजनी इथे रबदा फिरदा संजागी दर्द लुट गए सारे सुन सजना दे झूठे लारे जिने उन्ने हारे विच परदेसां दे रब राजे come with me if you wanna run with me ride it out
Bohemia, Vich Sunday, the track that I played back in the day on Radio 1 that I'm not saying it kickstarted his career because that guy didn't need any kickstarting, but as he mentioned, it really gave him a very early lift up that he was able to use for the rest of his career. Look, he came on really late. We're sorry that he came on like 15 minutes after we were going to start, but don't say we basically don't give you everything that you want out of a No Filter. That was completely no filter, and it went on and on like a true conversation between two souls. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed all the stuff about, being essentially a rap version of Jagjit Singh or possibly Anup Jalota. Basically how, Sher o Shairis and rap music have some kind of common thread between them. I hope you enjoyed the stuff he talked about in terms of Jasmine Sandler's, possibly the first time he's ever talked about that stuff that openly, and I hope you enjoyed his thoughts on being the brown rap version of Elon Musk or Steve Jobs. If you want to react, text me now, yeah? 81869.
The Asian Network Breakfast Show.
Good morning. With Harp's Core. I sneezed, V, so badly that I've pulled a